Boom, we're back with episode 113 of the Quarantinecast. This one's a special one. Not a fighter. He's not a fighter, but I have BJ Johnson, who is actually the owner of No Filter MMA, and he's also a report writer with me over at Bloody Canvas. So I'm really excited for this one. We're just going to talk about our passion for MMA, what got him into it, why did he start No Filter MMA, and then wherever the conversation ends up going. We had a good conversation yesterday on his page, so hopefully we can kind of carry that over to this one. Boom. How's it going?
What's up, man? What's going on?
And how's your day going?
It's good, man. You know how it goes, man. Wearing a mask everywhere.
Man, I hate it. What's it like down there? I mean, we're in technically the safest place in all of North America, but everything's shut down here. Like, we have to wear masks everywhere. Groups no bigger than 10 people. It's ridiculous.
Well, I'm in North Carolina, and I live in the mountains of North Carolina, so it's not a whole lot going on there. So we've been able to stay relatively safe. The most precautions, like the most exposure I'm around, is mostly at work because I deal with the public. But yeah, man, everything's not shut down, but everybody's like mask and hand sanitizer before you go in and everything like that. So it's been crazy.
Yeah, the paranoia is crazy. Like it's unreal. Funny thing is about the whole thing is I didn't realize how serious it was until MMA got shut down. I was like,
Yep.
oh, geez, it's serious.
Sports, period. Just
Yeah. Well, so that brings me on to this question. Like, I fell in love with the sport by one fighter. One fighter did it for me. It was Rampage Jackson. That anger. I had a lot of built up aggression when I was a kid. I was always angry, always mad. Still now, but when he took out that door, I was like, oh my god, I like that guy. What was the moment for you that really drew you to the sport?
I can't really say that there was like a moment. Like there never really was a moment. It was just like, I would see it, you know what I'm saying? I would see it on TV when I was like 12, 13, I was like, wow, what, because, back then when it came to fighting, at least in my world, the first thing people thought about was boxing. Cage fighting was the Wild West, you know what I'm saying? So, I just, one of those late night things, you know what I'm saying? And you just be flicking through my TV and it's on and I'm watching. I'm like, man, I really like this. I really like this. I really like this. And it just kind of snowballed into, and that was a couple of years before that first season of The Ultimate Fighter. And by the time that came around, bro, I was all in. You know what I'm saying? By the time that came around, I was all in, man. And just, just the excitement, man. It's the excitement, and having your favorite fighters and watching your favorite fighters evolve and go through the process and just fights and just chaos and, watch it. For me, another big thing for me is the different styles. Like, this is mixed martial arts. You have certain people who specialize in wrestling. You have people who specialize in jiu-jitsu, people who specialize in striking, Muay Thai, karate, and all these styles get brought in and you see it all just, you see two fighters with two different backgrounds or the same background and you see it just happen. And I think it's amazing, man. I think it's a beautiful thing to watch.
Yeah, that's one of the things I like about your channel is, like it says, no filter MMA. You really just kind of off the cuff, whatever you're thinking of, it's just out there. How did you start that page?
I felt like okay, I started No Filter MMA late 2017, late 2018, and it actually wasn't called No Filter MMA. It was called Sports Scrutiny. That was the actual original name of the podcast. And I felt like I wanted to talk MMA so much, but I had nobody to talk to it with. Like nobody at work, no friends, nobody watched it. And I'm just like, what the fuck? Well, why are you guys not watching this? You know what I'm saying? Like, why are you guys not talking about the same thing that I'm talking about? And so I started, a buddy of mine reached out and was like, hey, man, I've been thinking about doing like a sports pod. And this literally happened like within a week's time. The thoughts of, man, I would really like to start a podcast, You know what I'm saying? Just get on here and talk MMA. And then he reached out and said, I'm thinking about starting a sports podcast. So the origins of it were, we were supposed to be, you can go back and watch, like the original episodes, or the first episodes on No Filter MMA's YouTube page. And this guy that I was doing, he was a friend of mine. You know, he would talk sports, but it didn't, like, I felt like I was the only person that was putting forth the effort in it. Like, I was landing interviews with fighters, and I was doing, you know, pretty much everything. Like, and then it was when he got to talking about like football and stuff, it just didn't fit. You know what I'm saying? And I was doing all the promoting and I was pushing it. And then, you know, I just told him one day, I was like, man, you know, like I said, I feel like you're not in it. You know, I'm like, I don't feel like you're putting the effort toward it. You know, like, I want to take this and go with it. And, you know, after some pretty heated text messages and whatnot, he was like, fine, dude, you know, go ahead. So then I was like, I got to come up with a name. I got to, you know, rebrand this channel, because I had plateaued with subscribers. I had plateaued with views. You know, I was like, I got to rebrand this channel. You know what I'm saying? So that's when I started brainstorming for a name. And a friend of mine who made a lot of appearances on the show, on what's now No Filter MMA, he pitched the idea of, you know, No Filter, and then I added the MMA to it, and just a new logo, new thing, you know, just new vibe on the podcast. And it was the best thing I could have done. You know what I'm saying? Because now, you know, when you say No Filter MMA, people kind of, you know, in this world, people know who it is. They know it's me. But what I enjoy the most about doing this is just being able to interact with fighters and build that base online, and build that community online. And, you know, that's how I ended up with you guys, and just the whole network of underground, you know, journalism, MMA journalism on YouTube. It's just, I didn't realize that this whole world of this was here until I decided to do this.
It's funny because I kind of went through the same thing. I have a friend of mine who watches MMA. He'll watch UFC fights with me, but I'll name a fighter, and he's like, "Yeah, I don't know who that is." It's like,
Yeah.
I know everybody. Like, I know their records. I know who they fought last. I know what organizations they competed in. It's ridiculous, and there are diehards, but they're scattered. So I mean, I'm glad I found Bloody Canvas MMA, because all of us, all day, that's all we talk
Every
about.
last one of us. Every last one of us.
Like, all we do, talk about MMA, talk about, you know, who's fighting, or what fights we would make, just nonstop. And it's kind of cool to see that community. That, I mean, it's funny that I have friends who I won't go out with because I'd much rather stay home and talk to people I've never met.
That's absolutely correct. That's absolutely correct.
It's so weird. It's so weird that I've never met any of you guys, but for some reason, we all bonded through the sport of MMA. And as for the interviews, I thought when I started it, the most baffling thing for me, I don't know if you can relate to this, was how easy it was to pick up these interviews. Like, I was like, there's no way I'm going to speak to a UFC fighter. 2 days in, I was speaking to Mike Rodriguez.
Right. Yeah. It's and then it's so satisfying. Like, it's so satisfying when, you know, that feeling when somebody hits you back and said, yeah, man, I'm down. Like, there's nothing like that. Like, it's just the feeling that if you don't do this, you don't know how it is. You know what I'm saying? Then when you get that interaction with that fighter, and you do these interviews, these video chat interviews with these fighters and whatnot, and they're normal people. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're normal people. Like, you know what I'm saying? And the first person I ever interviewed was I think it was, golly, I think Tanya Evinger was the first person that I ever interviewed. Yeah,
that's a big one too.
That's a good first interview.
Yeah.
It was Tanya Evinger, and Tanya Evinger has no fucking filter. And I was like, this is the best thing in the world. Like, it's like a high that you chase it. You know what I'm saying? And for me, like, getting those interviews, man, especially with someone I don't know, it's one of the best feelings in the world, man.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, and for me, the most satisfying ones are the ones where you kind of build a relationship with them. I know with you, obviously, Jillian Robertson, you've had her on a few times, and we've talked about that. For me, it was Justin James. Like when you have a guy who wasn't in the UFC, now all of a sudden he's in the UFC, and you kind of see him grow. There's nothing more rewarding than that, and that's the big thing for me. I'm so glad I got into it. And for people like a few months ago, I wasn't even able to talk to people I didn't know. I was nervous. I was shy. Just go for it. And I think both of us are really like proof that it does work out because, man,
Work,
you're
yeah.
talking to people that we've never met, may never ever meet, but building relationships and being able to text them is really, really kind of cool, especially when you see them win on TV.
Yeah, man. And see, the thing with me though is, the thing about No Filter MMA, and this is the biggest thing about it that I really wanted I wanted my channel to be this. And what I wanted my channel to be was like, I didn't want to lose the fact that I'm a fan, because the earlier stages of my channel, in some ways I was trying to be something I wasn't. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm a fan. I watch this like everyone else does. Just take what's in here and put it there. You know what I'm saying? I want it to be super relatable. You know what I'm saying? When I get on my channel, you know what I'm saying, I'm ranting and raving like I'm a fan, and I don't let that cloud what I'm doing. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't try to say the right things. You know what I'm saying? Because big name people, it's like they're not fans of people. They try to talk about the sport in such a broad way that you don't know who Ariel Helwani's favorite fighter is. You don't know who Luke Thomas's favorite fighter is, because they don't talk about him. Everyone who's subscribed to my channel knows that I am a Jillian Robertson fan. Everyone knows that. Like, everyone knows that I'm a Jillian Robertson fan. Everyone knows I was a huge Miesha Tate fan. Everyone knows who my picks are. And I think that, that's important, man, because you have people who disagree with you. You have people who agree with you. And I think it's just, I think just being relatable on screen, especially when you're not physically in front of someone, I think that is just huge, man. And I just love doing that.
Yeah, you really need to kind of find what works for you. I mean, what works for you would never work for me. I don't have that passion. Like you start and you're like off, you're on a whole nother level, a level I'll never reach. And it works for you, that passion, the love you have for the game. I love it too. I just don't share it the same way you do. And it's really, if you haven't watched No Filter MMA, I highly recommend it. He's funny. He keeps things exciting. And like he said, he shares what he feels without a filter. And you need that. You need people like that. And it's good that we have people that are different than like you said, the Luke Thomases, the Ariel Helwanis, and no disrespect to them, they're doing what they have to do, but it is
Right.
nice to have a different, like a guy like the Schmo too. A lot of people give him stick. He's doing his thing, and it works. And I've followed a very similar path. I didn't want to be clickbait. I never did this for likes, subscriptions, any of that. I wanted talk to so and so. I'm going to write their name down. If you want to watch it, fine. But I'm not here trying to get people to click my video.
Yeah.
Uh, like I've had people call out guys on my like while I'm interviewing them, and I don't not trying to make it big. I know if I did, it would blow up, but that's not what I'm here to do. And
What
it is
what a feeling! What a feeling, dude, when a fighter drops a bomb like that on your
yeah
channel. It comes out of left field. And I'm just like, I mean, it happened recently with Jillian Robertson. She just boom, and I was like she was like, Antonina Shevchenko ducked me in August. I was like, whoa, wait a second, you know what I'm saying? But yes, dude, those bombs are fucking awesome.
yeah. When they come in, man, and like I had one. Justin James told me of his no, not Justin James. Um, I don't know who it was. Oh, TJ Brown told me who he was fighting while I was talking to him. And I was like, "Is that out yet?" And he goes, "No." And I'm like, "Should I tweet it right now? Like, can I tweet it while I'm talking to you before someone else picks this up?" Yeah, it is nice when those come in. It's super rewarding. It definitely feels nice when they feel comfortable enough to share it with us, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, man. So now, what I admire, like I told you, what I admire the most about you guys, man, is the knowledge. Like, you guys remember shit so well. Like, you guys know, you guys can talk about a fighter that's on the fucking undercard and literally remember the storyline surrounding his last fight. And I'm just like, how the fuck do they remember that shit? Like, how the fuck do y'all remember situations that happened in someone who's even not that well known in their last fight that happened months ago?
Yeah,
Like that.
Joe is probably the best at that. He'll
Yo,
break something out that makes no sense. He'll be like, "Yeah, well, last fight he landed 28% of the strikes." I'm like, "What? Like what? Is that even available online? Like how did you find that?"
where did you find that information?
I have
Yeah, man.
I have a spreadsheet that has every fight in UFC history, and I scroll through that usually to kind of get information. But when it comes to like those little stats, I don't know where those come from, but we definitely do have people like Bloody Canvas is very, we are very, very passionate, and it's crazy to.
And
I
it's
thought I was
very
like,
diverse. We're very diverse too,
yeah,
man. Like, you know, like you and John are kind of like you guys are very like, what's the term I want to use? Um,
I'd say we're
God,
like more reserved. Like we don't share as much. We don't express
like
as
you
much.
guys are very like calculated. I'm gonna use calculated. Like, you guys are very calculated. You know what I'm saying? Versus, what I'm saying, like me, who knows where the fuck I'm at. You know what I'm saying? Anthony kind of brings you back to reality. You know what I'm saying? When you get too far off left field, Anthony kind of brings you back. So many different personalities, what we bring, man, and I think that's fucking awesome, man, because big media, like the big guys that do MMA media, it's like you couldn't name 5 people that work for each of these outlets. You wouldn't be able to name them because they're not bringing anything. They're not bringing anything to the table. You know what I'm saying? If people were to follow us and watch our podcast and listen to us talk, man, like, it's so many different personalities. You would know exactly. We're rememberable. We're memorable people. We will remember us for sure.
Yeah,
Very,
we like to keep things entertaining. Like
absolutely.
we don't really that's one of the things I like about us all too is we all mesh well. Like we all have different personalities, but none of us butt heads. Like there's never an issue. Whether it doesn't matter if we're debating, if we're arguing about something, it's always friendly. And it's like you said too, diversity. I mean, I'm from Spanish and Canadian background. Stanley's in the UK. Uh, Jose's Puerto Rican. Like so many different points of view. We're all over the map. I don't think anyone's in the same state. Like it's definitely nice to kind of have all those different perspectives too.
Yeah, man, and it makes it great. It makes it great, man. So you tell me what when you started, what I'm saying, like, because if it's hard to get past that first. It's hard to get past that first hump when you're doing this. Like, that first hump, because you're excited, you're excited, you're excited, you're excited. And then when you start it, it's like, what do I do? You know what I'm saying? Like, am I gonna? Then you get to that point where, like, am I gonna do this or am I gonna fuck around with it? You know what I'm saying? How did you get past that first hump, bro?
Yeah, it's hard because I mean I work full time. This is something I do on the side. I mean I have worked 9 to 5. I same thing as everybody else. I have to train. I have to do all this stuff. So for me, it was I don't play video games. I don't I don't drink alcohol much. I don't so for me this was like, you know what? If this doesn't work out, I have an amazing story to tell. You know what I mean? And I enjoy every interview I do. And I think that's what a lot of people need to realize. Like if
Absolutely,
if you
man.
can't if you can't do one every day because you don't enjoy it, but you can do one on Sundays, do that. It's not about time. If you enjoy it enough, you'll do it. I'm not trying to make millions. I'm not trying to make anything. In fact, right now I'm negative. I spent more money on this than I've than I've earned. I have some cool sponsors that send me stuff, but outside of that, I mean, I'm not making money off this, but I enjoy it. And I think a lot of people, when they decide to do something like this, they do it for the reason, I want to be a James Lynch, or I want to be a whoever it
Right,
may be. Uh,
right.
you can't go in with that mentality because you'll never get there. But there are days, man. I remember one week I was going through a lot of stuff outside of work and outside of this, and I was like, I can't do this, man. I can't do it this week. And the important thing I found was don't force it. You know, that passion and the interest in doing more interviews will come back. And 3 days later, I was like, okay, I need someone else. So,
Yeah.
did you ever experience that as well? Like at times you're like, I can't do this, and then that passion jumps back at you, or were you always die hard?
Dude. Oh man. I'll go if I mean, I'll go, you know, sometimes you get burned out. Like when you do see me, I do mostly videos and you video. You know what I'm saying? I do them and I get burned out. I'm like, I just don't want to do a video for a week. You know what I'm saying? And I will take a full break from any sort of journalism for like a week. And then I'll just be watching fights. I'll watch a card. I won't make one video about the card. But then after the card, after I went back and watched all the fights again, I'm like, I need to talk about this. I need to say something about this. I need to say something about this. And then I'll be like, the day after that, I'll be like, get your lazy ass in gear. Let's go. You know what I'm saying? Then I'll just get on it and then I'm right back in, dude. It just like it go. My mind will take a rest and then boom, I'm right back at it, bro. It's natural. It's like, and now I'm asking myself, how will I ever stop doing this? Like, how will I ever stop doing this?
I don't think we can, man. And I think that's the thing. We're gonna be sitting here for a while doing these, and even if we get no followers, man, I enjoy every second of it. Like you said, there's days where you're like, man, I can't right now, and I don't understand how you do what you do because I talk to some fighters, I talk to someone, and I can like. There are days where I don't really feel like talking, and I'll do more listening. But when you're the only one there doing it yourself, you have to be into it. You have to be passionate. I watched some of your videos and I'm like, I don't know how you can do that, man. It's hard and it's very difficult. I don't think a lot of people realize how hard it is to talk when no one's physically listening, you know? So man, I commend you like tremendously for that. It's a whole nother level to this. Being able to talk by yourself to a camera is different than being able to have a conversation like we are now.
Right. Yeah, man. It's just, it's practice, bro. For me, it took practice because before I was like, God, I'm running out of stuff to say. But, you know, when you're in it, you know what I'm saying? When you're just, when you're talking about a fighter it's hard to put it in words, Sergio. It is, man. It's like, for Yair Rodriguez, for instance, if the topic of conversation is Yair Rodriguez, you could talk 20 minutes on Yair. You could talk about how he lost to Frankie Edgar, how he got that last minute KO over Zombie. You could talk about, those wins over Jeremy Stevens, what that meant for Yair. You know what I'm saying? You could just go, dude, and you just go. You just go, dude. And I don't know, dude. I guess I smoke pot and I fucking turn the camera on. So it just comes out, bro.
It's I mean, there are guys that you can really there are times where I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna like ask or whatever. And the second the conversation starts, shit'll come to you. And
Yeah,
and like you said, man, like you can ramble on. I mean, even guys that you may not be a Yair, just like someone like Jillian Robertson, who maybe doesn't have the background of Yair, but you start talking about her. I mean, there's so much content. I mean, what is she doing for Canadian MMA? I mean, really, like she's carrying Canadian MMA, women's MMA right now.
right.
Unbelievable. How is she going to recover from the Macy Barber loss? And there's so much content there, even for people who aren't necessarily familiar. You do 5 minutes of research and you can ramble on about these people, and especially if you have the passion for it that we do. I can sit down and read about these guys for forever. Writing about them is a whole other story. I can't stand it, but but reading and talking about them. It's crazy. That being said, man, I want to talk. I can't go without talking about this weekend's main event. We'll kind of end on that note. I mean, unbelievable for Paul Felder to step up on short notice, and man, he's getting a crazy fighter in Raphael dos Anjos, who I'm surprised he's taken this. I mean, he's lost what 4 of his last 5. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. Just shows you what kind of a stud that guy is.
Come on, Paul Felder.
Well, both, both.
Yeah.
Raphael dos Anjos too. I mean, you're taking a huge fight. I mean, you're struggling. Paul Felder obviously had the controversial loss, but I think Paul Felder has more to lose in this than Raphael dos Anjos.
Absolutely, and I was kind of surprised that Paul Felder stepped in like that, on because he's been floating that retirement, word around. I was kind of surprised that he stepped in and take such a fight like Dos Santos, because if Paul Felder's trying to make that run, you know what I'm saying, a fight with somebody that's not even ranked, that's a dangerous fight. Like, I mean, that's a pretty gnarly, dangerous fight, and it's Raphael dos Anjos. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's Paul Felder having to get to 155 in 5 days, and Paul Felder has rough, brutal weight cuts. You know what I'm saying? And I understand he was training for this triathlon. I get it. Everybody's like, well, he's in shape. I get it, but it can either go one or two ways. It's one or two things. Paul Felder can go into here coming off of that training for that triathlon, strong, healthy. You know what I'm saying? He could come in like that, not overtraining his body, not taking any lumps and bruises in a full training camp. He could come in fresh, uninjured. You know what I'm saying? It could be a great looking Paul Felder, or Paul Felder can come into this fight drained from that weight cut, you know what I'm saying, and not looking very good at all because he hadn't had a training camp. I don't know which way to go when it comes to that. I don't know which way to go. I'm hoping that we see a really good Paul Felder, because a hungry Raphael dos Anjos is very dangerous, very dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, I agree 100%. I mean, you saw what he did to Robbie Lawler. Raphael dos Anjos, when he shows up, he's legit, very
Right.
very legit. And coming back down to 155, which is a place where he held a belt, he knocked out Anthony Pettis. I mean, he was at one point considered one of the greatest lightweight champion holders of all time. People were like, "Oh my God, this guy's legit." He rejuvenated his career early on. His UFC career, he was getting knocked out by guys like Jeremy Stevens, and now he's a champion. And so he's back down to that weight class, and I'm really hoping it doesn't deplete him either. And I hope we see a good fight. But Paul Felder, man, props to him. Man, the guy is a freak. He's a beast.
Yeah,
he gets it. So, man, whoever wins, I don't even care. I just want to see a good fight, and I like this fight more than the Makhachev fight.
I actually do too, man, because I feel like RDA would have beat Makhachev. I really do. I think that was a big step up for Makhachev. But Paul Felder, man, gritty dude, and he's tough as fucking nails. I feel like if he loses this fight, this is the last Paul Felder we'll see. But if Paul can win this fight and turn back Raphael dos Anjos, man, I think that speaks a lot for Paul. I don't think it really does much for him in the division. I think it does much. I think it does more for Paul as a fighter than it does for his rank, than his spot in the division or whatever. But we'll see, man. I mean, who do you got winning the fight?
If you had a gun to my head right now, I'd say RDA. As much as I think if both had a good training camp, both were prepping, I think it'd be very different. I think Paul Felder is very, very good. He's shown it. He almost beat Dan Hooker. I thought he won. But the last time he took a short notice fight was against Mike Perry, who I think 9 times out of 10 he beats. So I think the short notice fight may affect him. So I'd have to go RDA right now, but come fight night, who knows who I'm going to put down? Who knows? Who knows? I'm not good at picks, so I think I'm ranked 4th right now in the group in picks. So we'll see.
I'm dead last. I mean, my picks are horrible. I'm the worst at picks, dude. I'm the worst at picks. for sure.
I always feel bad picking because it's like if I interview someone, I don't want to pick against them. Like even if I know they're gonna lose,
Yeah,
it's like what if they see it?
like going into that Jillian Robertson fight with Macy Barber, man, I was like, God, like this is the worst matchup for Jillian Robertson. Like this is a bad matchup for Jillian. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, man, because I've always said Macy Barber can put any girl out, any flyweight. If you fighting at 125 and you step in there with Macy Barber can put you the fuck out. Period.
Male
And
or female. I think if she connects with some of those guys at flyweight too, yeah, she's got a
absolutely,
lot of power.
absolutely. And when I was like, man. And then to see Jillian lose like that was heartbreaking, man. But I was not gonna pick against her, bro. I was not picking against her. Nope.
It's funny. Like when I feel it more than any other sport. I'm a diehard soccer fan too, but I don't shake. Like when my team's playing, I'm not shaking. When my fighter's fighting, I'm there like this, like on the edge of my seat. I won't sleep if my guy loses.
That feeling in your chest. Oh, that's
Yeah.
the worst one, man. That's the worst one. When like I had that feeling for 5 rounds when Tate fought home for the belt. That was what was going through my chest. I was feeling that for 5 rounds. I was like, man, oof.
And she got it done.
She got it done, dude. Ooh, that was the best feeling in the world, bro. That was the best feeling in the world. Yeah. So let me ask you this, Sergio, before we get off here, man. You tell us, dog. You tell us. I want to hear it from you. I know I've asked you this before, but I want to ask you one more time. Does Michael Chandler become champion in the UFC?
No. I think the only way he becomes champion is if Khabib retires, Conor retires, Dustin retires, and Tony retires.
That's a long shot, man.
Yeah, exactly. I think all those guys beat Michael Chandler. I really like Michael Chandler. I thought he looked great. He's done some great things over at Bellator, but he has some losses on his record that I think are quite questionable. Conor doesn't lose to Will Brooks. Conor doesn't lose to Eddie Alvarez. So your biggest win, in my opinion, to date is Ben Henderson, and Ben Henderson hasn't been a UFC fighter for a long time. That being said, I like Michael Chandler. I hope he can go out there and shut me up, but I don't see him being a champion. I do think he's a top 10 lightweight, but I don't think. Yeah. What about you? Where do you see Michael Chandler in that lightweight division?
I see Michael Chandler as top 5.
Top 5.
I think he can compete. I think he can compete because he's got that Bellator. He's got that Bellator chip on his shoulder. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be there. He's got something to prove. Michael Chandler has something to prove. That's the thing, man. That's my theory about fight. When fighters have something really to prove, and you have a solid skill set, that's a dangerous fighter. That's a dangerous fighter. And, you know, which is why I fucks with Jillian Robertson so much. Jillian Robertson lost on the first round of Tough to Barb Honchak. The first episode, right out the gate, boom, Jillian Robertson is eliminated by Barb Honchak. Jillian Robertson has had something to prove in the UFC, which is why I fucks with Jillian Robertson like I fucks with Jillian Robertson. I might end up fucking with Michael Chandler like that. You never know. You never know, bro. I might end up fucking with Michael Chandler. But I feel like he's got something to prove, man. Just like Justin Gaethje. Look where it got Justin Gaethje. He came in. He was the LFA
WSO World Series of Fighting. Yeah.
World Series of Fighting champion. He has something to prove. You know what I'm saying? And it got him all the way to an interim belt and a shot at the undisputed belt. I mean, you got to give him that, man.
Yeah, it's hard because
look at Eddie Alvarez.
Yep.
Eddie Alvarez made it to the belt. You have other champions from other organizations that are super close. Alexander Volkov at heavyweight. Was he not was he not the former Bellator heavyweight champion?
I don't know about Alexander Volkov, actually. I don't know if he was. Could have been. I'll look him up right quick.
Yeah, I think he was the former Bellator heavyweight champion.
M1 Global Bellator. Yeah, he was. Yeah, Bellator heavyweight world champion. Yeah, he beat Richard Hale.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, these champions from these other organizations, man, you can't write them off. You can't write them off. You can't write them off. Not all of them, you know.
Yeah,
So,
it's hard because um, we don't know until he goes out there, right? Like, he beats 95% of that lightweight division. Like, he's UFC level, like easily. But my only fear is that will he be a Ben Askren or will he be an Eddie Alvarez? You know, there's two extremes here. You could go in and get starched the second someone they give you a Masvidal, or you can go out there and become world champion like Eddie Alvarez did, or Justin Gaethje almost did. So there's two extremes here, and who knows, man? Who knows? And the only way to know is give him a fight. And with that being said, if you could give him one fight, if he's got one fight in the UFC before the belt, who would you give him?
well, if it was only one fight,
Yeah.
If it was only one fight,
And
I see in my mind, I'm seeing like a 2-fight run for him.
Yeah.
But if it was only one fight, I would give it Justin Gaethje, man. You know, former other organization champion versus other organization champion. You know, these guys are in the UFC now. Who's the better of the two? I think
stylistically, that match is amazing too.
Right. I would give him, if it was a 2-fight, if I had to do a 2-fight prediction, I would give him Dan Hooker first. Dan Hooker is a nice testing. Dan Hooker's a tough motherfucker, you know what I'm saying? I would give him Dan Hooker and then Justin Gaethje. And if he can beat Dan Hooker and Justin Gaethje, he deserves a title shot.
Yeah, for sure.
Give the man a title shot.
Yeah, I love that. I love that fight, and I think both of them match his style as well too. Right? I think you go in there and you feed him a guy like Charles Oliveira.
I keep forgetting
He's
about
a threat.
Yeah.
Charles Oliveira could derail that train. You know what I mean? There's guys that I just think are bad matchups for him. I think Tony Ferguson could be a bad matchup as well. But I think that, like you said, those two fights, if I was him, I'd be looking at a guy like that who would match him stylistically. A guy like Dan Hooker, a guy like Paul Felder, a guy like Justin Gaethje. Those are good matchups. I like it.
Yeah. Somebody like Charles, I don't think they'll give him somebody like Charles, because Charles Oliveira will end that ass. Like I'm not even joking. Like Charles Oliveira would end that ass. Like that wouldn't be good at all. Or even Conor. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like Conor could I feel like Conor would finish him. You know what I'm saying? Like Conor catch him with that left, man. Like Conor got that equalizer with that left, bro. I gotta give him that.
Conor's a lot better than people give him credit for.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people wrote him off from the Khabib fight, but you're seeing what Khabib's doing to everybody else, man. I mean,
right.
I think Conor gets a lot of he talks a lot, but man, what he did to Donald Cerrone, like, geez, like who does that, right? What he's done to Eddie Alvarez, the list goes on and on. But I do think Conor McGregor, if Khabib retires, I think Conor McGregor could be the guy to win that belt next. I really do.
Yeah, he could, but Khabib has to be gone for Conor to have that belt. Like Khabib has to be gone. But yeah, man, that's all I got, bro.
Yeah, me too. I appreciate you taking the time. If you haven't yet and you don't follow No Filter MMA, I highly recommend it. He's a lot of fun. He's passionate and really good content there. A lot of great interviews. He does a great job breaking down fights. So be sure to like, comment, and subscribe on both of our channels, and make sure you follow Bloody Canvas MMA. And we'll see you guys next time.